Sure.
Mr. Boroway,
Present.
Mr. Slocum,
Present.
Mr. Jenks,
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
That's good. Yeah, 100%. That's good. Nice. Show up with me being the last one. And I printed out the agenda since I could not get it on the computer. And I assume minutes are in there. Let me, okay, here we go. Well, we can dispense with the pledge because we'll do it as part of the other meeting. All right, so items 1 and 2 are relatively small gifts. Would somebody like to move those?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Tim moves. Jim, you want a second?
Second, yeah.
Very good. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I hear 3 affirmatives. There we go. We'll move on to acceptance and appropriation of the $78,000 gift for technical enhancements to meeting facilities. I read through some of the stuff. I was a little surprised to see that it was from Pura. But Sean, do you want to give us a little information on this?
I can, or Arnett, actually, do you want to just kind of give a quick?
Oh, sorry. Okay.
The legwork on this one, just a quick summary.
The Pura has had several rounds of grants for enhancements for broadcasting for mostly municipalities and to help us to expand our capabilities and get the technology and the equipment that we need. We got a substantial grant about, I don't know, maybe 7-8 years ago. And they recently opened up a new round. And Mike Salamini was actually pretty critical in our application. So this will reimburse the town for a lot of our improvements to room 207 so that we will be able to film live there and have stations, and also some enhancement to some of our other equipment and some additional equipment to allow us to roam a bit and taking video. So we're really excited to have received this and looking forward to reimbursing what we've already spent and finishing up the project.
So everything that we have, we've already pretty much utilized these grant funds. Everything we've purchased has already been purchased.
No, we haven't spent
No.
everything yet. I think we've 12,000 so far. We were holding off on some of the bigger things until we were sure we were going to get the money. But I can get an exact number once I look it up.
Okay, but this is all for communications on the government side. It's not for the schools.
Correct. It is all on the government side, and it all has to do with communicating with the public and enhancing public meetings.
Okay.
That's good. Now we can use that second floor room for other important meetings and have it filmed more easily. So that's great. Thank you.
Exactly.
Dave, just a heads up, it just admitted you a second time. Are you good?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
able to get it on the laptop.
Okay,
So after the budget meeting, I'll drop off on the phone and just leave it on the
Perfect.
laptop.
very
And
good.
everyone at my office is wondering why they're hearing me 1 second behind me because I can't silence the laptop, but I can silence the phone. So
It's
they
all
only have
good.
to endure a few more minutes. All right. So with that, if there's no other questions, I'll accept motion from somebody to move this forward.
So moved.
So
I'll
moved by
second.
Jim, second by Tim this time. All right.
Got it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It passes with 3 unanimous votes. Thank you. The next item is a rather important item in terms of effect. And I want to ask the town manager, Sean, do you have some understanding of what this might be costing us to do either one of them or both?
We do, and I know Jim Jascott is on the call as well. We have a number of documents. We sent some out in the last couple of hours to the council, and I also have some available here that I can screen share if you'd like. Maybe we'll just kind of very quickly go through some of it. And I know we'll go through a lot more of it.
Yeah, Sean, I don't know if you want me to kind of take over and just kind of
Yeah,
highlight.
go for it.
So I did a cash flow analysis if we chose the program, which again, that program would allow us to extend the additional 60 days over 90 days. So for example, on July 1st, tax payments would be due and paid by on or before October 1st. So I took a look at our collections last year and kind of rolled those forward as to what that might look like this year. Just a reminder that this program would not include any of the escrow agent. Yeah, this is my cash flow worksheet. And I highlighted the taxes. So if you'll see the 16,574 in the July column, those are my projected escrow agent payments. But I do anticipate getting at least that much in July of what normally might be something in the $50,000 range as far as collections during that month. So extending the grace period for payment by an additional 60 days means that we will likely get a balance of what we would normally collect in July and August sometime in September, because at the end of the day, they're going to be late October 1st. 37 million I have here. That's kind of rolling forward everything during those summer months, all into September, shy of the 16 million that I am going to take in July, projected to take in. So you can see my ending pooled cash here, and we're fortunate because we do pool our cash. So all our funds, not just the general capital project fund, our medical reserve, all our funds are pooled into one big pool of cash, which gives us a lot more flexibility as to how to maneuver those funds during the year. And you can see my pooled cash balance at the lowest point in August, I'm projecting 21 million. So I think we're, comfortable shape that even if we were to extend this deferment program to all our taxpayers, I think we're from a cash standpoint, I'm not going to have any difficulty in maneuvering that storm. We do. One of my concerns originally was, we do have some monies in longer term CDs just to take advantage of some higher rates of return. But typically that doesn't exceed $10 million. And so I think, we're going to be comfortable here. We have at least twice that is what I'm projecting.
And what would we forego in interest expense that we might, not expense, income?
Really, this is more of a deferment program. So yeah, I guess there's probably a minimal amount of interest involved, and to the extent that, maybe we would have collected some delinquent accounts in August and September, but I didn't even take that into consideration, frankly, because I think it's a negligible amount. Substantially, this is a deferment program. So we're going to be made relatively whole through the course of the 3 months. There is a separate program which we can decide to do as well, which would involve the reduction of interest on our delinquent accounts for the months of April, May, and June. Again, that would take us down from our delinquent accounts from an 18% interest rate down to a 3% interest rate just for those 3 months. And there's a caveat there. You have to make a payment, at least a partial payment, if not a full payment. We don't get any of that benefit. I took a quick look at that, and that could cost the town about $25,000.
So that's
would be borne by the general fund, although there's delinquent sewer usage and sewer assessment, water assessments in there as well. But most of that would be the general fund. And like I say, that would be about 25,000. So
Can I ask a quick question?
any more?
sure, Jim.
So Jim, is there any guidance from the state or from CCM or anybody as far as the expected kind of increase in delinquency from, just from of a downturn and this kind of, combination with this deferment program? Is there any kind of notion as to what might our delinquency rate be?
Honestly, I haven't seen any guidance yet from the state on anything like that, other than any internal projection, which frankly, the bulk of it is what you're seeing in front of you right now.
Right. But you're calculating not really much of an increase in delinquency at all, right?
Correct. I mean, I'm assuming that by the time October rolls around, we're going to be kind of right where we would be normally.
Right. Which is the big open question, I guess.
Right. Are we gonna have some delinquencies, which we're a town that has very minimal?
Right, right. But you'd expect some more, right?
Yeah. And again, this is a deferment program. This would allow people an extra
Right.
couple of months to
Right.
pay their taxes without paying a late fee. So
Okay.
Right.
you're probably going to get some people, and I'm being kind of conservative here. I didn't even include the fact that, and I know this, the way this town is, there's going to be a lot of people that are, regardless if they have a grace period, they're going to in July like they always do. I just have a strong feeling that that's going to happen, and this would be
Yeah.
a worst case scenario.
Right.
Now, we were talking about a handful of options, if I'm not mistaken. We could do a combination, correct?
Correct.
We could do both
Now-
of these, right?
Right.
Right. Now, is it a recommendation that we lean to the side of this one, or is there some benefit to offering both? Or did you do an analysis on the other? Because the other one was a reduction in the late fee. I mean, the calculation of interest, correct?
And
Yeah.
only for 3 months, right? At a
Right.
lower percentage, 13% annualized instead of 18%.
So really, a general deferment that as many folks take advantage of or not is probably the better program, right?
Yeah, I just want to say I have William Donlin, our collector of revenue, in the room with me too. And Bill, by all means, chime in if you want to add anything here. I think you had some feelings as far as these programs too. One with regard to the deferment program and whether we open that up to all our taxpayers, and also on the reduction of the interest rate program. So I don't know if you could, if you'll be able to hear him, but if you want to add any comments, Bill, on that.
Well, one of the big things that we need to keep in mind is that we're not deferring the tax at all. The deadline is deferred. So it's money that we're going to get over the extended 2-month period. So, I mean, we keep on, even OPM saying that deferral is probably the wrong term to be using. It's basically an extension of the grace period.
Grace period, correct.
So
That's a good way to put it.
That's what you're talking about when you look at the deferral program. The deadline's deferred and not the tax. So all we're doing is giving people the ability to pay the taxes due over a 3-month period. And as we looked at some numbers, certainly we have no idea on what's going to happen. But we're hoping that by the time we get to October, we're going to be back on our normal cycle and, able to resume what we've been doing.
So further the question, so if we've extended the grace period 90 days, I think, and someone misses that extension, they are now subject to the regular interest rate, correct? That would have been the 1.5, basically effectively, I think 18% a year.
Right, the
Yeah,
1.5% per month going back to the original July 1st due date.
Right. So
So
so a combination thereof, if we had the deferment program, how does that benefit somebody who misses that grace period if other interest structure? And I don't remember what it is. It's not in front of me.
The interest rate really only affects those folks that are delinquent now.
Right.
Basically,
Right.
during the current, and it only applies to April, May, and June. So it's really that it's sort of
It's moot.
Right. Well,
Okay.
I'm inclined to say that the cost of this is not that significant. So
Right.
even if it's more of a show of support and empathy to our residents, I'm inclined to say let's go for both of them.
Yeah, and that's our recommendation as well. And I think when it comes to and I think we talked about this at the last meeting, if we're going to be doing an application process and trying to pick who's been more affected by COVID versus others, I think we're also leaning towards just making this available to all as we've calculated here, versus trying to justify and sort of judge, confirm, also attest to who has meets the eligibility requirements or doesn't.
That's really what I was looking for with my question. So you really are recommending both. Okay.
We feel like it's the right way to go.
And I think that's fine.
In essence, Tim, was that a motion?
Yes.
All right, Jim, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, having both really covers, probably, obviously it's more scenarios or more, gives people more flexibilities and us more flexibility. So I would say let's do both.
Okay, so that's a second, I would take it then. All right.
Right.
So we've had discussion, and in interest of time, let's move forward. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes with 3 unanimous votes. There we go. The last item is the discussion of the multi-year site license agreement with AT&T. We got an update on this during a session fairly recently. Is anything changed on this? Sean, are we ready to actually implement this?
We are, and I think Neil will be covering this again, and I don't know, for the benefit of the full council too, which we're kind of coming up against that time. We could.
Right.
So
All
we're
right.
in a position to sort of pass this along then without further ado.
Okay, that's a motion. Is
I'll
there a
move,
second?
I'll move that.
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, it is 7:02, I believe, and
I'll
we are
move to
adjourned.
adjourn.
Okay, is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you.